Peace and blessings. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle Black Authors Matter Season 2. So, today I have Miss Francine Houston. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good today.
Okay, love to hear that. So, if you will, share who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm a I'm a writer. I do design stuff like on a computer and fashion design. But I started writing poetry back in college, and I started like with my first poem. Funny how things change, and would just spread it out. Eventually, those poems became a book, so I started writing books about it. I work as a seamstress for I make the clothes for the military out, you know, out here in Lansing. But I also have a business. Well, two businesses. One is just like Senior Media is focused on my books and like the services I do. And I also have another business, FH Designs, where I do clothing, business casual clothing and casual clothing.
Okay, so you say you have, what was it, four books or five?
I got more than four books, but I only got like five books on me that so far that I got in my hand.
Okay, so if you will, share, share a little bit about what the first book is about,
Uh,
because that's the one that started it all.
the first book was Lupus Journey. It has a different cover now, but this is like the original one that I had. I just wrote a memoir about like basically my story about how I got diagnosed with lupus. I didn't know where to start from, but that was like the first poem that I ever wrote. So I just said I might as well just make this poem into a story. But I basically just wrote about like before I was born up to the part where I got diagnosed with lupus, which was 1998, and my last year in high school. I got diagnosed with lupus after I came back from Washington for a government trip that I had with high school, and how I was an active teenager and how all of a sudden lupus came and I'm in a hospital more than anything. Like after I graduate high school, I'm in college, but half of the time I'm in college, I'm like in the hospital, half off and on and stuff like that. So like the dramatic change for me being in sports and doing everything to just, I wouldn't say being bedridden, but majority of that year before I went to school, I was basically, I wouldn't say bedridden, but I was in the bed most majority of the time because I was like on a lot of medication. So just talking about that journey that I went through and like how um they couldn't estimate how long I would live, because I got diagnosed at 18. So he didn't, how in depth I got, sick and be hospitalized a lot. They couldn't, I wouldn't say they couldn't estimate how long I could live, but my life expectancy wasn't that long. Like people come up to me and like, okay, hopefully you can live to be 25. Hopefully you can live to be this age or that age. And my doctor was scared because I got really sick right after I graduated and I was in the hospital. And he was like, well, he was just like, I hope you make it. He was basically saying, I hope you make it to 21 because you got really, really sick. You was in the hospital. We don't know. And I think he brought up some about somebody else being really sick at 21 or not making it. I don't know. But my life expectancy wasn't that long. So I'll just be thankful for every year that I made it. I made another year. I woke up another day. So I tried to do stuff as a normal person would, which is to go to college because most people with lupus, they are either bedridden or in the hospital a lot. And I just took a chance and went to college, try to, get my degrees and just try to live I would say a normal life, try to get just, how it would be just to get a job because most people who deal with any type of disability, they face barriers getting jobs. So I just tried to see about even just having employment. So basically it's just the journey from before I got sick, even before I was born, to the point where I graduated college and went on my first cruise. So that's basically the first book. Like at the end of the book, just me going on a cruise with my sister. Sister, another lady with the same name. So that's basically it.
So, quick
Yeah.
question about what did you want people to get out of that book?
um a lot of people really liked the first book more than the second one. The second one was really more in depth because I really was down. I really was facing. I really was almost about to pass. Not be here. It kind of gave them like inspiration. Like I survived through all of this stuff, even though I didn't know what lupus was. Like being diagnosed in the 90s with lupus, nobody talked about lupus back then. So most people said they was inspired by my book. I don't know. This lady, I think I was at a fashion show and I was selling my books, and like one of the models bought the book, and her mama, she was like, me and her be fighting over your book. I really like this book. Like they really like this book. They like to read it. I guess I must have made it, even though it was a very, I went through a lot. I guess I made it light enough for people to read it and be inspired by it because, so I wanted people to be inspired, even though I went through something. I'm still here. I'm still alive, and
You're a miracle.
yeah, it's a miracle. So that's basically what the second book was about: being me a miracle, life after lupus. Because
Okay,
I'm
share
almost
that.
from I almost died from kidney failure. So it was just it, and then with kidney failure, you just don't know when that happens. It just comes out of nowhere. Like sometimes you get the symptoms, and sometimes you don't. And with me, I started getting symptoms and didn't know what it was. Like I would just start swelling up, my legs would start swelling up. And then everybody was like, did you go to the bathroom? Like, don't even remember. I was working so much, I didn't even remember if I went to the bathroom or not. And then my doctors, I did a whole bunch of tests, and my doctor was like, they called me and they was like, you need to just come and just make an appointment just to come to the hospital. You need to just be in here. And I was like, I need to be in the hospital because I didn't feel sick. I didn't think nothing was wrong with me. And they was like, your tests came back really, really bad. And I was just on the phone crying because I had a crazy boss. And if I would have missed work, she was gonna write me up. And I called my doctor. I said, do I come to work? She was like, no, I told you to come to the hospital. And I was like, they was like, well, you can't just go in the hospital that way. We gotta figure out to get you in the hospital because they gotta run all these tests on you. So they made me go to a kidney doctor. The kidney doctor made me go to the hospital. It was that severe. My boss was so crazy. She wrote me up for not coming into work because my doctor called me back too. Like this is a life or death situation. My brother was like, "You gonna die for your job? You better just not go in. Forget your job." And I had to start thinking about it because I'm like a person that thinks about bills and everything. And they were just like, "This is your life. You need to
Hmm.
just not go to work." So I got wrote up. I didn't even care because I couldn't. But it's when I say I went to the hospital and they just kept me there for a week, they literally kept me there for like a week and like I think a week and 2 days. And my crazy boss still calling you come back to work. What you doing? I was like, I'm trying not to die right now. Excuse me, and they just did not care. And everybody just like that. My doctor looked at me because I think my kidney doctor was in the hospital at that time. He was just like, "You gonna have to quit this job." I told him what I did for a living, and it was just a physical laborious job. I was just cleaning schools, but it's the simple fact when I was cleaning for those schools, that lady tried to work us to the bone. I worked so many shifts that job is ridiculous. I had to work at night. I think I worked from the second shift all the way to the third shift. I used to go in at 5 o'clock and then come back until the next day. And I was just looking at her like, I don't even think this is legal. So when I kept on telling her I had to take days off, and she was like, "You can't keep on taking these days off. We need more people in here." And I was like, "Yeah, more people, not me." She was like, "If you hire more people," she said, "When I hire more people, I'll let you take a day off." And I was like, if I listened to that lady, I wouldn't be here right now. She was that crazy. I was like, and then it's like when I quit the job, they made sure I couldn't sue them for workman's comp. I couldn't go back and do nothing to the lady. I was like, dang it. She must be protected somehow because she was crazy. But the moral of the story was God basically healed me from kidney failure because it was that bad. Like after I after I got out of there, so my doctor was like, I didn't want to tell you, but you was at 10% functioning, Francine. And I was like, really? I had no idea. I was just sitting there and they was doing everything they possibly could to get me to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't. Nothing worked. They had to literally just put me on dialysis while
Hmm.
I was in the hospital. So I was just like, okay. And my whole family, they just wouldn't do nothing. They were just sitting there like, we not going nowhere. It's like once I got in there and they found out how bad it was, they were just sitting in there. I woke up and I was like, don't y'all supposed to go to work? They was like, nah, we took the day off. We gotta see if you okay. And I was like, is this bad? And like my family was freaking out so bad. They was like on Facebook, like, pray for Francine, please pray for Francine. And everybody like on Facebook, and I mean, I'm in the hospital. Everybody on Facebook, like, are you okay? Like, they say you in the hospital. I was like, just pray for me. I'm like, I don't know what it all is, but as soon as they found out what it was, my sister was on there like having a breakdown because she thought I was gonna be gone. And we are only a year apart, so we're really close. So she just thought I was gonna be gone. So she was asking everybody she knew to pray. And they was all reaching out to me either on text message or Facebook saying, we praying for you. I didn't know it was that bad. And I was like,
You
well, thank
truly
you.
get to see what family or friendship support, every just support look like.
Yes. Yes. People I didn't even know knew I was in the hospital. They was coming from different spots. They just came in to see me. A lot of ministers from churches came to see me. Cause I was in there for a while. I was in there for a while. And it was so bad. It felt like I gained weight. Like I had a smaller coat when I got in there, but they puffed me up with steroids so bad. My mother had to literally take her coat off and say, you should just wear this to the house because I couldn't even fit my coat because they pumped me up with so many steroids. It was
Mm.
that. Yeah. So that was basically that was that journey of me basically I try to continue what I was telling you how it was before I ended up having kidney failure. I continue to go on trips, continue to go on cruises and stuff. But when I got sick, I basically had to stop working. And when I got better, I ended up getting a job working for the military. So that's where I work at right now. And how even though I'm trying to think. Even though throughout that book, I wrote about me, my other friends. They used to let me come visit them in Chicago, and I think I wrote about like I went back to doing my businesses and stuff like that. It was a slow start, but I tried to just have try to go on with my life, even though that was like a traumatic thing I went through. So that's basically life after.
And book three,
Oh no.
and book three.
Book three is I called it Strength of a Woman because most of my poetry it got something to do with my health, something, but not all of it. I wrote about a lot of different things, but I don't know. The title "Strength of a Woman" just came to me, so I just kept it that way. Um, but it's like maybe over 100 poems in here. It's basically like all the poems. Majority of the poems I had in Lupus Journey I had in Life After. It's just some of them that I would just write. I was, I just put it all in one book.
Would you like to read one?
Okay, sure. Let me find one to read. The ones I normally read, the main one I used to read is A Woman's Worth. So let me try to find that one. Um,
And how did you start your writing journey?
Start my writing journey. I was basically thrown into a poetry. My sister found a poetry club while we was in community college, and she was like, "We should do it. We should do it." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah," because usually we'll ride this to the school together, or we'll take the bus together. And she was like, "Well, I'm staying after. I'm going to a poetry group." And I'm like, "You going to a poetry club?" So I went in there and they was like, well, if you in a poetry club, you gotta write a poem. I was like, I'm about to write no poem. And they would start explaining what a poem is. You can do a haiku, which is based off certain so many symbols, or you can write one that rhymes, you can write one that don't rhyme. And I was just like, okay. So the first one I did was funny how things change. I could probably that was the first one I did, but after a while, as I went through things, I wrote more poetry. But I'm gonna do a woman's work for right now. Um, A woman's worth. She's worth more than people think. She's more than a coat by the figure and high heels. Her value is far above silver and gold. Her wisdom has exceeded many of her peers in the old. Her physical appearance should match what is inside. Her heart is pure as gold, which can be hard to find. This woman could be someone's mother, wife, sister, or daughter. She could be daddy's little girl to her father. This woman is respected and honored for the morals and values she portrays. She's a role model to many women, and she strives to be her best every day. So that's one of the poems that I wrote.
It sounds like Proverbs 31 almost.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Yeah. I wrote I wrote that one, and then when I was trying to think of another one. What I should do change. Maybe I should do. I can read the first poem I did. I gotta find it though.
So
Funny how things change. If you don't mind me, if not, I can just go to the next book.
no, go ahead, read it.
Okay, this is the first poem I wrote because the first real poem, because the other poems I wrote that said that it wasn't in depth enough. So, um, oh how funny things change. Once I was so beautiful that all the boys knew my name. But that changed so rapidly they didn't even want to know me at all. I used to have long, sandy brown hair and flawless skin. Used to have a petite figure that any kind of pants would fit in. Now almost all my hair has fallen out. My flawless skin turned rashy filled and ashy. My so-called petite figure have turned into a big water mass. Many others were concerned about this change. I prayed to God and Jesus to heal whatever remains. I went to the doctor and found out this occurrence was lupus. It could go away, but come back with vengeance, worse than before. I was really hoping that all my prayers would reach heaven's door. But now it finally did. My hair grew back half its length. My skin isn't flawless yet, but I'm getting there. And I'm not so fat that I wear a size 10 underwear. But God and the devil gives you a test for your faith to see if you're strong enough to endure the race. And I said this my race isn't over. It's just got me started. This mean old disease just got me begin to make me strong and stronger in the Lord today. If this happened to me a few years ago, I would say no way. But I'm a new creature now. The old man is gone. I'm a new the old man is gone. I'm a new creature born again who knows right from wrong. So if you ask me if I go through lupus again with all the pain, steroids falling out of my hair, joint pain, blood and kidney problems, and many more, I would say it would take a very strong person to endure. So that was the first poem I wrote.
And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being willing to inspire others with your journey because it's very important. There's a Bible verse, it's Revelations 12 and 11, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And according to man, you
Mm-hmm.
wasn't supposed to live past 21, past certain ages, and you shared how old you are today with me before we got
Yes.
on.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that you are not just a miracle, but you were meant to be here.
Mm-hmm.
The books that you have wrote, you have left also you have created a legacy for yourself to inspire others that go through this. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you have ever tried to see how you could get your work in front of people who are going through lupus to
Yeah.
inspire them. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't, you need to do it on a bigger scale because you can speak about this from your standpoint and give people hope. Where hope pushes people to the next level,
Mm-hmm.
even if they think they may not make it. They see you have made it.
Right.
So I need you to work to see how you can get this everywhere that you can. Hospitals, because you should be speaking on panels,
Mm-hmm.
enlightening people that you can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. Look, I know the pain you feel, but at the same time, I made it.
Right. Right.
So you're forthful.
Okay. Thank you. you. Yeah, the other two books was just the self care books, but I know we running out of time, so these is the other two books, just about self care. And then the self care edition I did with a group of people.
Mm,
So, and you have to see Random Thoughts on Amazon.
okay. So I do want to ask, before we wrap this up, give me a word of wisdom that you could give to somebody young, old, been to prison, anything, no matter what they're, whether they have had lupus or anything. Give me a word of wisdom for somebody.
Word of wisdom. Um, I would say to not to count yourself short just because you may be going through something at a very specific moment don't mean that's the rest of your life. Like it's only just for a moment. Like if I would have made lupus be my entire life, I don't think I'd be living my life that I'm living now. I would just make that be my whole world. And I had to think outside of that just to say, okay, I may be this situation doesn't define me. I'm going through this situation and I'm going to make it to the end. I'm going to go to the other side. Just don't make like a temporary situation become permanent.
And where can they find your books? Give the names of your books. Where can they find you on Instagram or any of your sites? I need this information. And what I do want to ask y'all to do, please go buy all of her books. I ain't gonna just say one book. Buy all of them because it may help you even on your journey, whatever your journey may be. Just seeing that she's an overcomer, or as that verse I just said, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb or by the word of their testimonies. Francine has a testimony that can inspire anybody. And you might be fighting over the book like them two, the mother and the daughter.
Yes, that was fine over that book.
So,
Yeah, you can go to francinehouston.com or you can just go on Amazon. And I think Barnes and Noble has Random Thoughts. That's another poetry book. But majority of my books are on Amazon if you're looking for them. But Amazon may have put them on other things as well. And they're also on Kindle as well. Or
okay.
when you go to francinehouston.com, you'll get them through me. So yes.
And so you do actually sell and sign books. Okay.
Yes, I got some in my trunk right now. I gotta try to figure out how I can go back into vendoring again. Cause that's what I did majority of last year. I was trying to vendor the books out. So
Hey, go places. Go places and just set up. They what I learned about books. Books are different than clothing, so you don't need a permit normally to sell books on the street or anywhere. So
okay.
when it get warm, step outside with your books. Share your story. Your story is everybody has a story, but yours is different.
Hmm.
Everybody has a, a tailor made story that's fit for them. It's like wearing a suit or a tailor made dress. Is only yours.
Right.
And what you're meant to do is share that dress or that story with everybody else. They can't fit it,
Hmm.
but they can admire it and realize that, man, I want one like that. But you get to tell them how it was created, that God gave it to you.
Hmm.
So what I do want to share with you, keep telling your story. It's important.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
I thank you for answering the call so I can actually, hey, actually do it.
Okay.
So my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. Her name is season 2, and her name is Francine Houston. Please go purchase her books. Thank y'all.